A new stablecoin dollar milkshake theory. Subtitle: Turning Eurodollar liquidity into Treasury yield. Let me spin you a theory. Not the kind cooked up in some basement by a guy with yarn and pushpins. No, this one's got legs, wires, and suction. It drinks. See, a man named Brent Johnson once warned us. When the music stops, the US dollar won't collapse. It'll consolidate, like a dying star pulling everything else into its orbit. He called it the dollar milkshake theory. US markets offer higher yields, better safety, and deeper liquidity, so global capital rushes in, draining emerging markets dry. But that was the old milkshake. Now, there's a new straw in town, and it's digital, programmable, wrapped in smart contracts and policy nuance. The new blend, stablecoins and treasuries, enter the stablecoin dollar milkshake theory. Here's how the new game works. The United States has $35 trillion in debt and a problem. Demand for long-dated treasuries is drying up. Foreign central banks aren't biting. Domestic banks are already full. But offshore, there's a $13 trillion Eurodollar system, synthetic US dollars held in foreign banks outside Fed jurisdiction. No yield, no home, no allegiance. So what if the US gave those Eurodollars a way to come home, wrapped in regulation, backed by US treasuries, and deployed as stablecoins? That's the play. Stablecoins become the straw. Treasuries become the milk, and the US, well, it drinks, all of it. The Russian whistle. Now, here's where things get cinematic. Anton Kobyakov, one of Putin's top advisors, goes on Russian state TV and drops a live wire. The US plans to reset its debt via stablecoins and gold. They want to start from scratch. Not some Reddit poster, not a TikTok doomcaster. A Kremlin insider saying the quiet part out loud. Even if he's exaggerating, he's not hallucinating. He's sensing something, like animals before an earthquake. The US is laying tracks for a reroute, a fiscal reboot disguised as fintech innovation. The genius of the move, and it is genius, it sidesteps the domestic banking system, avoiding a run on deposits. It offers yield to foreigners without spooking voters at home. It increases demand for treasuries without calling it quantitative easing. And it channels global dollar demand into regulated pipes. Think of it as a stealth debt refinance. Except instead of rolling over bonds with interest, you're rolling over geopolitics with code. How the world responds, and the rest of the world, well, they see it, and they feel it in their reserves. Europe is scrambling for its own digital euro, not because it wants to, but because it can't afford to lose another straw to Uncle Sam. China tightens its capital controls and pushes the ECNY, hoping to build a firewall around its domestic liquidity. Russia and BRICS talk gold-backed trade rails, anything to get out of this new digital dollar quicksand. Even the IMF is floating multi-currency platforms, but none of them have the gravity or the milk, because the truth is, nobody else makes the milk like the US Treasury, and now they're serving it in stablecoin cartons. What comes next? If this theory plays out, you'll see a flood of Treasury-backed stablecoins marketed globally, not to Americans, but to Eurodollar holders abroad. Swap lines, trade deals, and regulatory safe zones will start rewarding those who adopt this new digital dollar standard, and the world will be nudged, not forced, into drinking from the straw. But make no mistake, once you start sipping yield in stablecoin form, you've been absorbed. Final thought from Flint. They say you can't inflate your way out of debt without consequences. But what if you could tokenize your way out? What if you could reprice your liabilities, reroute demand, and rebuild trust, not through austerity, but through architecture? That's what this is, a new architecture, built not from gold, but from syntax, incentives, and suction. This ain't just fintech. This is fiscal jujitsu with programmable gloves. Remember the name, a new stablecoin dollar milkshake theory, because the straw may be digital, but the power, that's as old as empire. Flint West, signing off.